Hello there guys, Xeonexis here, and today we're going to be talking about one of the meta strategies that is currently happening here on the Vanguard Tournament, which is moving your base. So here I will show you the things that I did, at the same time the mistakes that happened in this game. So here you can see me build 3 barracks, collect a bunch of supply containers, but I did not push my infantry forward. I prioritized in capturing the flag first. So normally in order to pull off this strategy, you need to capture the flags as early as possible. You can let the enemy have the containers, but you must get the flags at all cost. However, in cases like this where my HP of the infantry is very low, I just decided to collect the supply containers instead, since it will be more beneficial for me, because I know that this infantry cannot hold off by taking the flag, and it was a good thing that the enemy managed to give me some containers, because it seems like he missed some containers. So here you can see me upgrade my headquarters to level 2, and as soon as I upgrade it to level 2, I then proceed to build myself construction yards. So I just decided to destroy the construction yard I have, at the same time try to build myself a assault vehicle factory. Now this is my first mistake. Before the assault vehicle factory was able to finish, I just destroyed the construction yard that was in charge of building the assault vehicle factory, because I needed my coyotes to secure the flag on the bottom here. I needed to secure this flag, and I didn't have coyotes, which is the reason why it was very hard for me to capture it back. But nevertheless, I still proceeded to build myself some construction yards, at the same time try to build myself headquarters. But you have two ways on how you approach this. You can either build yourself some supply containers, or supply centers in order to get your resources up, or you can build instantly a headquarters, which may be damaging in your economy because your resources income is going to be very low. In this case, I decided to build myself some supply centers, and here you can see that the enemy has managed to capture the middle flag, but I'm not going to commit my resources in capturing that flag again, because my priority right now is to not get scouted. So here you can see that I have committed infantry in guarding that area to make sure that the enemy will not have any shenanigans in trying to scout this area right here. So the enemy made the mistake of not actually scouting this part of the map right here. So yeah, you can see me right here build myself 3 supply centers, at the same time get myself up to 1,000 supplies, and no, never mind. I actually decided to build myself another power plant, and after that I decided to build another supply center in order to get my economy up. This is because building yourself supply centers and then destroying it is very expensive. You may need at least 1,500 resources in order to successfully complete this kind of task, alright? So another option you have is, instead of moving your base to this area right here, you can also decide to move your base at the middle flag, which is right here on the left side, alright? So here you can see that my ally is stalling the enemy. At the same time, the enemy is starting to have a bunch of heavy assaults attacking my ally sniper towers, and it's already 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. That means this is the beginning where very powerful units are beginning to spawn. So as you may have noticed, my ally have started spawning jaguars and armadillos. That means there's a big chance anytime right now that the enemy is going to spawn himself some Zeus and a bunch of heavy assaults, which is going to destroy the base entirely. So here the enemy still doesn't have any suspicion. He doesn't even decide to scout my base, nor scout the flag here on the top right corner. And here I decide to scout to see if I can try to steal the flag, because unfortunately I did not foresee this when I was still trying out this plan. That flag on the bottom right side of the map is going to stop my forces coming from the top, coming from my current flag that I'm capturing here. They are going to stop my allies from attacking the enemy base. So for some reason, I really need to, I need to capture that flag in order to recover and put pressure on the enemy base. So what are the advantages of transferring your base? So first, the very benefit of this is, transferring your base means you will no longer feel the pressure of the enemy allied units attacking you, alright? So you don't feel the pressure of securing all the flags. But at the same time, it's very risky because, for example, like this, I have no defense, I have no units. I'm only relying on my gun towers to actually defend my base. So here you can see that a bunch of fortresses have committed suicide and tried to engage my gun towers on a 10v1, but unfortunately they are losing. And here my gun towers are actually doing a pretty good job at stopping the enemy fortresses, and then the hammers come in that is when the problem will probably begin to start. But unfortunately, my last gun tower fell. But it's a good thing that my enemy decided to retreat. It's because my ally has sent some jaguars and a bunch of armadillos, which actually made the enemy hammers retreat because those units are too powerful for his units. And so the fight goes on. I develop my base, build myself up some supply centers that I have lost, and make sure that my economy is back and up. So my goal right here now is just to survive. The enemy is probably upgrading to headquarters level 4 or level 5 right now, which means there may be bombers. He may be preparing some bombers or even worse, space strikes. But as of now, looking at the current enemy base, he only has a bunch of hammers. So yeah, the goal is to survive, which is why I decided to rebuild my gun towers and place it there. So hopefully there are going to be enough defense. At the same time, I decided to build myself a bunch of assault vehicle factories. And here you can see that my allied units are engaging the enemy, and here I am trying to scout to see if I can manage to at least sneaky capture this flag. Alright, it's because the enemy allied units are very annoying because they are stopping my allied units from attacking the enemy base, and that's the only problem right here. However, if I manage to capture this flag right here, then all my problems are going to be solved, and that's my primary goal here. My primary goal is not attacking the enemy base, but rather capturing that flag on the bottom right. So here you can see me build a bunch of units in order to help defend my base, and a bunch of armadillos, maybe perhaps trying to see if I can do a sneaky capture. And here the enemy again produces a bunch of Zeus, produces a bunch of heavy assaults in order to stop my ally. But then the enemy decides to scout my base with a cyclone and sees that I'm upgrading headquarters to level 3 and still have no units capable of defending my base, which means any rush now can be potentially fatal on my part. So the only question here is, where is he going to attack? Because apparently, just like last time, 2 gun towers were enough to stop his army of hammers because my ally was there to support. And it seems like that's going to be always the case, because now my ally will keep on producing units and will continue on harassing the enemy. So hopefully, I'm just hoping at this point that the engagements here will not reach to the top of my base, which can be pretty annoying. So let's move on. After a few moments into the game, I noticed one thing here. So if you look closely right here, right? My ally has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a bunch of jaguars and a bunch of grenadiers. However, looking at the enemy, he only has like a fortress, some heavy assaults, and 1 Zeus. Unlike last time, which spawned like, I don't know, 4 or 5 Zeus per wave. But this time, there is only 1 Zeus, 1 fortress, and a bunch of infantry. That means one thing, that is where it actually hit me. The computer, or the AI CP, the AI actually has a limited CP, just like the players. And I am guessing that the CP is limited to 150, which means one thing. Since the enemy has captured the flag on the left side, it kept producing units, heading to my original location of my base. But the problem is, they're just going to stay there because my base doesn't exist there. Like, it's not going to do anything, it's just going to go there on standby, which means it's going to waste CP. So this is where it hit me. Like, all I need to do is wait for the AI to actually lose CP. And when it has not enough CP, that means there will be no more units spawning on the flags. And then that's a chance for me to finally capture this flag on the bottom right. And then that will make my allied units proceed to pressuring the enemy base. So for the enemy right here, he has 2 options. One, he can build a lot of defenses and try to stop the enemy army, my allies army. Or he can transfer to the middle flag right there. Alright, but in this time, he decided that he has a bunch of Taurs and a bunch of Vertex. And right now, they are flying over to my base and doing a bit of a harass, destroying my airfield and destroying my Avia Factory level 2. At the same time, destroying a bunch of my anti-air defense because I was actually a noob for not building myself some anti-air, even though I was expecting the enemy to be at headquarters level 4, probably preparing a bunch of units. Alright, so here I decided to build myself some special vehicles factory. At the same time here, finally, you will notice that the units that are being produced in the flag are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. that means my chance for capturing this flag is getting bigger and bigger. And finally, for the first time, my allies had a breakthrough and have decided to actually now charge the enemy base instead of like engaging the enemy allied units, because I was able to stop them. So here, finally, my allies is going to be pretty busy engaging them on. However, I am also making the commitment of making units not to attack the enemy base, but rather to capture this flag here on the bottom right. So here you can see that some of my allied units are starting to engage. Now you can only see 2 infantry, a fortress, and a Zeus, and now they are getting lower and lower and lower per wave. That means the enemy CP must be very low. Alright, so here I gather up my units, get myself some jaguars, get myself some infantry, and charge on to the enemy base. So here, the wave, this wave of the AI, enemy AI, has no Zeus. That means there will be no more Zeus spawning. So I think that's my chance. That is why I decided to charge, and well, my ally has decided to actually fully move on. Unfortunately, my headquarters has been destroyed by Thors, but it doesn't matter. My units really don't matter in this engagement anyway. What matters here is my allied units, and at the same time capturing the flag on the bottom right. So what I did was simple: get my resources to 1000 and then rebuild my headquarters as soon as I can. At the same time, focus here, like for example there, I rebuilt my headquarters on the very right side of the map. At the same time here, you can see me commit a bunch of my forces in trying to secure the flag. Now the enemy vertex can no longer commit in harassing my base, because now they have to defend their base from my allied attack, which is finally reaching their base. This is where the pressure comes in, because you may have noticed that finally my ally is slowly destroying the buildings one by one. And then here is another problem: my jaguars will soon begin to capture this place right here. The enemy AI only managed to spawn 1 fortress. So I know that the enemy vertex is doing their best to actually stop me from getting this flag, but unfortunately that is going to be futile, because finally I am able to capture this flag. Now this is a ticking time bomb. It's only a matter of time before that flag will begin to produce a bunch of jaguars, which can be very devastating for the enemy. Because looking at this area right here, the enemy is already having a hard time defending. And this is where I realized something. It's very annoying, like those vertex are actually very annoying. And they actually managed to harass my allies' units pretty well. And then I realized, oh my goodness, my ally actually doesn't produce anti-air such as porcupines. So the solution for that is pretty simple. I just decided to build myself a bunch of special vehicle factory centers. At the same time, spam some porcupines. So here you can see that my enemy is starting to spawn a bunch of grenadiers and riflemen, but still they're not going to do anything against that bunker. But time will go on, and eventually it will spawn vehicles, which can be pretty devastating. So here, yeah, 2 assault vehicle, special vehicle factories, and a bunch of porcupines lined up under a gold vehicle production boost. So I'm doing my best to finally find a solution for those vertex, because if those vertex are going to keep on attacking my ally, then that's going to be pretty bad for me. So I need to find a solution, and the solution is porcupines. So here, my units actually managed to get wiped out. So that flag there, it can be on a very dangerous spot because it can be retaken by the enemy. So my goal here is again to destroy the vertex, at the same time to prevent my enemy from retaking or recapturing this flag. So here he sent a bunch of Zeus, only 3 Zeus, and a bunch of nothing else. Maybe vertex for air support. So yeah, look at those vertex like flies, right? So here I did the very famous, very basic combo of Grenadier Porcupine combo. Alright, so I don't need to commit vehicles on attacking this Zeus. I just needed a bunch of heavy assault, Grenadiers in order to counter this Zeus right here. And of course, Porcupines to cover for the air, for the flies that are flying above. Alright, so here you can see that my ally is again slowly starting to pressure the enemy. So the enemy, it's too late for him to move his base right now, because if he decides to move his base, then I will have time to counter his play. Alright, so now those vertex are doing a pretty good job at destroying my allies' units. However, my porcupines are going to be here They may destroy one, but instantly it gets replaced by 2 porcupines. And here, the pressure goes on. The goal is simple, just hold the flag and let my ally do the work. Now eventually, the bunkers here on the bottom area are slowly starting to fall. The enemy is going to be forced to do 3 things in this situation. 1 is either to build defenses, 2 is to build units, and number 3 it is to build air units. And the enemy only has limited resources and he can only commit to at least 1 or 2 of those things. So he's committing to building defenses on this area of the map. However, this is where the time bomb was actually starting to explode, because now my allies from the bottom right corner of the map is finally starting to produce jaguars. And now the problem is going to be bigger, because now you have to defend from 2 sides. You have to defend from this side and you have to defend from the bottom side. And I don't have that problem. Why? It's because I simply move my base. So this is where the advantages of moving your base, they come in long term. Like, you will no longer feel the pressure of the enemy AI attacking your base, because your base is simply right here. Like, you are free. Alright? You are free. So now, enemy Zeus are committing to this area. Meanwhile, the enemy bunkers and rocket towers are being committed at the top area. Alright? So I'm not seeing a bunch of vertex flying. I wonder where they are. But now you can see that the top defenses, the rocket tower has finally fallen down. That means my ally has finally penetrated this area of the map. And well, the enemy Zeus has committed to defending this bottom side of the base. And he may be committing to actually try and recapture this flag. However, it is too late, because now my allies are going to start producing a bunch of very powerful vehicles. He even managed to space strike my base. How cute. But still, that doesn't matter. What matters is the flag. So as long as I have the flag, then even if I only have a supply center, that really doesn't matter, because now my ally can continually pressure the enemy's base. However, here you may have noticed that I only have 1 jaguar, a couple of grenadiers, and a lot of porcupines. So I just simply use what I have and decide to just attack the enemy Zeus. Like, there are only 3 Zeus. Like, what could possibly happen? 3 Zeus versus a bunch of porcupines, right? So now those Zeus are gone. At the same time, my ally is now continually pressuring, breaking the top part of my enemy base. At the same time, my porcupines are going to be doing their job, hunting down those vertex one by one by one by one. And then there goes another one. And now, this is where the problem is going to be, because the enemy only used his vertex to defend his base. But now his vertex are gone, all thanks to my porcupine. And even if he has many vertex, he cannot use it because they will just instantly die to my porcupines, alright? So now, my ally is starting to penetrate the enemy base, coming from the top and coming from the bottom. And now, slowly and slowly, the enemy is falling apart. It's too late to move your base now, buddy, because now you have to face the pressure of my allies attacking your base. Moving your base right now would mean you're going to make yourself very vulnerable, and I have a force committed and ready to intercept you when you're doing that. So, and that's it. There goes another vertex gone, and there goes the enemy base. The space strike, the space system, gone. The assault vehicle factories, the power plants, they're gone. And now we are penetrating deeper and deeper. The airfield, it's gone. Cyclones, how cute. They got destroyed by a bunch of armadillos. The construction yards, now you can see that the enemy is falling apart. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you try and execute this strategy called moving your base, which is pretty meta right now in the Vanguard Tournament of Art of War 3. So the things you really need to remember is, when you are moving your base, you just need to secure one part of the map. At the same time, make sure that the enemy does not scout you when you are moving your base, otherwise you are toast. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Xeonexis is over and out.